Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, mature scenes, and things that go bump in the night are ahead. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to cosmic entities from the great beyond, are strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your keeper this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are kicking off a new series set in the town of Arkham. I want to thank you for joining us, and hopefully we're going to have quite a good time. And before the full-on cast joins us, I want to thank you for listening, and those of you who are supporting our Patreon, thank you very much for assisting us with this endeavor and all the endeavors that we do. And so I'm going to get now directly to character and player introductions, which begin to my right.
Hi there, I'm Mike, and I am playing Charles Thurgood, who is an antiquarian, a collector of interesting objects from around the world.
Wonderful. And next to Charles.
Hi, this is Morgan, and I am playing Annie Mae Thurgood, and I am a parapsychologist, otherwise known as a ghost hunter, among other things.
Fantastic. And next to Annie.
Hi, I'm Bunny. I'm playing Detective Beatrice Locke. Our pronouns are she, her.
Wonderful. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, I'm Allie. I play Katherine Chamberlain, and I am a student at Miskatonic University.
Splendid. Our cast of characters is here, and that means we have arrived in Fair Arkham. Although, before we do, a word from the gentleman on the street. O ye who walk these streets of Arkham, heed my words, for I glimpse the truth, the vile, incomprehensible truth that writhes beneath the thin veneer of our reality. Tonight, this accursed Halloween of 1927, the veil betwixt worlds grows thin, and the stars, oh, the stars, they align in patterns, not meant for mortal minds to fathom. I have seen them in the forbidden tomes of Miskatonic's locked vaults, in scrawled ravings of alchemists, madmen, in the dreams that claw at my soul each night. Do you not feel it? The air heavy with the weight of eons, thick with the stench of things older than time itself. The shadows in the alleys of this forsaken town do not merely shift, they hunger. They whisper in tongues no human throat could form, tongues that echo from the black gulfs beyond the Pleiades, from the formless void where no light dares linger. I have heard them in the witch-haunted hours before dawn, calling my name, as if I were some offering to be cast into the maw of the infinite. This night, this dread All Hallows Eve, the gates are opening. In the gambrel-roofed houses, the cellars beneath the old witch house, and the forgotten crypts of the graveyard on Hangman's Hill, things stir, things that should not be. I stood upon the banks of the Miskatonic River this very night, and the waters, they spoke. It churned with visions of cyclopean cities, of towers that pierced the heavens of worlds not our own, of eyes, endless eyes staring from the depths. It is here in Arkham, beneath our feet, in the shadows of our homes, in the very air we breathe, the cultists that gather even now, in hidden rooms, chanting their vile litanies, offering blood to awaken that which must not be awakened. Flee, I beg you. Flee this cursed town while you still can, but But no, there is no escape. For the cosmos itself is a prison, and we are but its unwitting captives. The stars are right, and the hour is nigh. I see it now in patterns of the leaves that fall, in the flickering of the gaslights, in the faces of those who pass me by, their eyes too wide, too knowing. They are watching. They are waiting. And I am but a fool who thought knowledge would bring salvation when it has brought only despair. Go, then, and pray to whatever gods you hold dear, though they will not hear you. For tonight, in Arkham, on this Halloween night, the world we know shall crumble, and something far older than time shall rise to claim what was always theirs.
And so on that note, we will look in on a house and a man within said house. Charles, it is Halloween night. And like many around this area, there are festivities. As the local papers have reported for years in Arkham, the youths are up to no good. There's been likely a fair bit of gate stealing that's gone on. They have come to windows of nearby houses, and they have attempted their very best to frighten you. They have tapped on your windows. They have done all sorts of different things. There's children running about in sheets. Everyone's having mostly a good time. I wonder what Charles would do during this time. How would he spend Halloween night?
Well, I think Charles has a little bit of a tradition on All Hallows Eve where he sits by the fireside in his study, where he keeps many of his prized possessions, his books, and a few of the objects that he has collected on his travels around the country and, in fact, around the world. And he will reflect on the changing of the season as autumn is turning into winter. And from his private stock, which he has kept since before the beginning of Prohibition a few years previously, he will select a nice bottle of something, perhaps a brandy, or perhaps a nice wine, perhaps a Bordeaux or something, something with a little body maybe, and a little warmth in it, as the rain maybe falls outside, or the clouds certainly gather, and he will settle himself down in front of this well-stoked fire with a book, and it is part of his tradition to look through his library and find something that is suitable for the occasion. Perhaps something by one of the great writers of weird fiction that are being published and have been published. Perhaps something by Poe, or maybe an Algernon Blackwood tale. Perhaps The Willows. Perhaps tonight is the night for The Willows. And so saying, he will recline in his leather wing-backed armchair, open the book, and turn the pages as he relaxes, occasionally perhaps a bit being broken from his train of thought and his reading by either the whoops and calls of the children outside, or maybe by one of the other residents of the house in which he lives. But yes, that is Charles Thurgood's Halloween evening.
I can imagine you sitting there in that winged back chair with the willows in hand and hearing just the frivolity that goes on outside. For the past several years in Arkham, there has been an uptick of, we'll just say, tourists in the area when it comes to this time of year. And so you see a slight influx of people from Boston. And with them, it seems there has been an uptick in mischief. You live in an era where trick-or-treat is not just a ritual, it is an ultimatum. And so the children, you've noticed, occasionally your neighbors will bemoan in the days afterwards that someone is stealing their gate, or perhaps someone hasn't took their gate, but perhaps they threw eggs at their house, or they did something ridiculous, like took a toy wagon and put it on their roof. But most of your neighbors ply the local children with nuts, and cookies, perhaps a toy occasionally. And it's all in good fun for the most part, it seems. It's at this point that the house receives a strong rapping sound at the door.
I think Charles will look up from his book, wait to see if he can hear the footsteps of the housekeeper, Miriam, to see if she is going to answer the door, or possibly those of his sister. Reflects for a moment and thinks, is his sister in the house tonight, or has she gone out for the evening? He can't rightly remember. I'm sure she must have told him earlier in the evening what her plans were, but it's quite slipped his mind.
Yes, you do hear the footsteps of Miriam. She walks towards the door, doesn't mention that she'll get it, just knowing that she's here to do her job. She goes towards the door, and you can hear that heavy-handled door, and then the movement of wood on frame as the solid core door comes away there, and you can hear the chants outside. You can hear the children call for treats. Give us something good to keep the foul spirits at bay. And as prepared as ever, she begins to pass out what she's prepared for them. It could be perhaps apples. It could be perhaps a selection of nuts, or even perhaps some homemade cookies that she's prepared the day before, cut into thirds or quartered perhaps, because you don't want to give kids too many, lest you become a target later on. But she seems to fend them off as best she can, and then closes the door and comes back towards where you're sitting.
If she knocks on the door of the study, or comes in to see how I'm doing, I'll ask her, Miriam, how were the children behaving themselves?
Mostly. The house across the street seems to have taken some brunt of their mischief, but ours is still safe, of course, sir.
We have the jack-o'-lanterns out, I assume, as is a tradition.
Of course.
Splendid. Is my sister home?
She looks up and sort of considers, and I'll ask Anne, Morgan, the player of Anne, would you have stayed home for Halloween night, or would you have gone out?
Oh no, I have a place I would have gone, because it is the most haunted of evenings.
It is.
So I would have gone to Ordnum's Woods to go see what I can see.
Really? Oh, interesting. We'll put a pin in that, come back to it in a moment. So Miriam says, no sir, she's gone. She said she had some research to do.
Oh yes, I recall now. She did mention something about ghost hunting on All Hallows Eve. Yes, I dare say she is prowling the streets looking for some suitable location to cast her eye over and see if a spectral form reveals itself to her. Oh well, good luck to her, I say.
Miriam looks aghast. She looks very concerned. She says, I don't know if I could do that. I wouldn't want to draw anything close to me like that.
Oh my goodness me! Well, I'm sure the spirits from the other side are all perfectly harmless, and do not wish any ill will towards we the living. For one day we shall be as they are, shall we not? What is it they say? There's only two things in life one can be assured of, death and taxes.
She says, I hope to rest with the Lord when I die, but yes, death and taxes, that is what they say.
Well, Miriam, if these cookies are anything to go by, your place in heaven is assured.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. Well, you may take the rest of the evening off. I don't think we shall be requiring you any further.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful evening.
Well, thank you, Miriam. Thank you. Now, where was I? Ah, the Swede.
So we'll move camera. Miriam takes her leave of you, and Charles goes back to the Willows. An excellent text. And Annie, the other Thurgood here, you said you went out to a specific wood. Which wood are you running around in at this late hour?
Ordnum's Woods. It's in the outskirts of town.
You are about 3 miles away from town.
That's okay. I'm used to walking.
Okay. So you've walked out to this strange wood. It's late, very late. And I'm going to say that it's about 9 or so p.m. at this point. Very dark. And I'd like to know what in the world you are doing out here.
Well, I do have a flashlight, because I'm not going to go out in the complete dark. I'm kind of silly as that. So I've heard multiple stories about the woods and how folks have seen and heard things out here. And I'm looking for that connection because I'm currently writing a research paper on the effects of supernatural beings in towns. And how they affect the lives of those citizens and what citizens might do in those towns and how their mental status is versus towns that don't have those supernatural beings.
Okay. So you're looking for substantive evidence you can bring to bear based on what entities you might encounter.
Correct. Yep, and I'm doing this in conjunction with my research partners at Stanford and Miskatonic. We have, there's a couple of folks from Stanford that are also doing the same study, and so we are going to compile our analysis together and publish that research paper. But as a woman, I will probably not receive first. I won't necessarily be considered an author on that paper, but perhaps they might include me.
Perhaps they might. So, Ordnum's Woods is a dark and deep patch of the Arkham countryside. It's west of town. In the early days of Arkham, there might have been log cabins here. But for the most part, most of these pioneer places have since passed. Any vestiges of them, any old foundations, you might occasionally encounter as you move through the space. It's, of course, named after John Ordnum, who was a famed hunter long ago. And the canopy here is so dense that even the slightest bit of moonlight that is out tonight is completely just obscured. So your flashlight is your one solace in this wood.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be in this wood during the day. It is a completely different animal to be here at night. And so I think it's fitting that you'll make our first listen roll.
I think that's a wonderful idea. That's splendid. I did tell Charles that I was just going down to the pub for a pint and maybe walk about town to see what everybody was up to. So he doesn't know I'm out here.
Is it common for you to lie to your brother?
He doesn't really want me to get into dangerous places. He's kind of protective, being, an older brother by a couple minutes. So I might fib a couple, every now and then about where I might be truly headed. So listen. Well, I got a 20 in that, so we'll just see how that goes. No. When I get a 71 over 20.
Okay. And so now I'll ask for the follow-up roll, which is spot hidden. You'll be at a 20% penalty given the fact that it's dark.
Oh my gosh, that puts me at a 12. Oh, I got a 92 over 12.
Okay. Would you like to push that roll?
I do, actually. Let's do it. Let's do it. Listen, you only live once. And maybe for one night out in Ordom's Woods. Oh, no, I got a 45, so that didn't help.
Very good. Failed push roll. You feel something on the back of your head. You feel it only for a moment. It's hard, it's heavy, and suddenly you are face down in the dirt. I'm going to deal you 3 points of damage. There is a swift crack, and you see stars. The flashlight goes clattering. You collapse forward onto the ground, under the underbrush. And you hear a really rough male voice say, "You shouldn't be in these woods."
Feeling the back of my head. Am I able to...
You're able to get to your feet, but just mind that you've been
hit.
You've been hit, and somebody hit you hard.
Yeah. I fumble to go grab my flashlight. Sir, why did you hit me?
You fumble for the flashlight, and you feel someone grabbing for like your shoulder or your arm.
Yeah, can I try to push him away from me?
Certainly.
Okay. It's gonna be a fighting brawl roll?
It will be.
I got a 42 over 25.
Okay. You're going to push them away, try to push their hand away, and they grab onto your forearm, and they pull your hand behind your back, and they press your forearm into your back. And that's the next time. The next sound you hear is the click of a revolver.
Oh.
You shouldn't be here.
How dare you grab a lady like this? Unhand me.
All right. You hear a completely separate voice. Tie her up. Rough hands grab onto you, and you get gagged. So if you'd like, you can still attempt to struggle and get out of this. But at this point, they have a successful grapple on you, which means you need to make a strength roll to try to get out of that grapple.
Oh, and my strength is not very good. So I'm and I just kind of relent. But can I see these folks?
No, it's dark. You weren't even able to get to your flashlight. It's dark except for your flashlight, which someone recovers because the light begins moving. And then you feel them tie you up. They tie your hands behind your back. And that's when panic starts to hit you and your head starts to hurt.
Going through all these emotions in my head of, oh my God, Charles doesn't know where I am. Who's gonna feed Onyx and Charles II? What about Mother and Father? Auntie Lydia would be so disappointed in me right now.
You get stood up, and there you see the silhouette outlines of a couple of men. One has you by the arm and is sort of marching you towards a tree. And there are a couple other men here. They look like they're in mostly shabby clothes. A couple of them have jackets because it's a little cold. Pretty basic bowler hats, that sort of thing, or cabbie hats. They get you up against the tree, and you feel yourself get tied to the tree. You hear one of them say, "I'm not doing it. You do it." And the other one says, "I'm not doing it. Let's just leave." "You leave her here," the third one says. "You sure?" "Yeah, let's just leave her." The flashlight goes out, and you hear them walk away.
Yeah, I'm struggling against the rope right now. Can I make a strength roll against the rope?
Sure.
I got a 48 over 40.
Okay. You could, if you wanted to, you could spend luck.
I'm spending luck to make that a success.
Okay.
For sure.
You spend luck, You begin to make some headway on the ropes. This takes a little while, but after a few minutes, we'll say, given your strength, you do find a way to get your hand free, and then you can actually get your other hand free, and then you realize that you have to reach behind your side to try to pull the rope at your waist. It takes you a couple minutes, but you finally get extricated from this tree. And you'd heard rumors before, tons of them, that Ordham's Woods had the occasional criminal element that liked to hide out in it. But this was definitely not how you expected to spend Halloween night.
I straighten my petticoat and my wipe the dirt off my dress, or as much as I can. I fumble around to try to find a really large stick.
Mm-hmm.
And my head is just try to get my bearings. And I'm gonna walk back in the dark with my large stick.
You slowly walk back. So we'll leave the woods for now and move towards campus, the auspicious Miskatonic University, and look in on Katherine Chamberlain, student. So given that it is Halloween night, I wonder what Katherine would be doing.
I am with a group of fellow students, and we are attending a seance. We have done that for this will be my third Halloween, having done it since starting university.
Okay. You're attending a seance. You're attending this seance before some of your friends drag you to a speakeasy that they have heard about because they would like to imbibe and perhaps pull some ghosts into their body by way of some of the libations. You're at the seance this evening. You have prepared. You sit in a wide circle at a table with several of your other fellows. And as they begin to sort of intone and ask the spirits to join the table, I wonder what Katherine focuses on.
Nothing. She doesn't believe in an afterlife anymore. With my father being a mortician and working in funeral homes and doing all of this stuff to prepare the dead, it has kind of made me wake up a little to, if there was God, we wouldn't have to go through all this trouble to meet him. So I'm there mostly as extra camaraderie for the people who still believe, but I'm not doing anything except just existing.
Okay. You're existing. I would like you, while you're in the middle of this seance, just sort of minding your own business, I'd really like you to roll POW.
Oh, okay. And I have to get back to Okay, so my POW is 80, and I rolled a 03.
You realize that the people around you, you come to this sort of strange realization as you're watching this woman leading the seance. She's sort of cavorting and trying to convince everyone that a spirit has entered her body. A long-lost Arkham socialite who died at the tragic hands of heartbreak has consumed her body and is now beginning to tell tales of centuries past. You realize that she's full of shit. And somehow you know that the people around you don't really have what it takes internally to really do this. There's just something missing about them. You get this feeling like the folks around you are just sort of hollow and they're kind of two-dimensional. This has happened to you before. It's happened in different ways. You've gotten a lot of reactions. You have difficult reactions when it comes especially to other women. A lot of women don't inherently just seem to get along with you. And the inverse is true when it comes to some men. Some men are sort of just lapdogs. And it's very easy for you to get what you want. Even if it's simple as just having someone do something for you. It happens pretty easily. Very easy for you to verbally get your way. It's really not something you probably have keyed in on a lot, but it brings it back to the surface. And it's sometimes a little bit more present in your mind than others. But this seance goes on 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and you are completely and utterly bored. It's probably about the 30-minute mark that the woman leading the seance sort of tilts up her veil, seeing that everyone else except you has their eyes shut. And she realizes that you're just not into it.
I just raise an eyebrow like...
She claps her hands and she says, "Thank you all. We've all seen and appreciated our glimpse from beyond the veil. But our time is at an end now." She stands up very carefully. You see people around you sort of seemingly snap out of it. People rub their eyes and, "Oh, thank you so much. It was wonderful." They pay her sort of these platitudes and compliments that are meaningless stretches of losses of breath. Nobody really cares. Some of your friends that you went there with stand up and say, "Well, this was fun, I guess, but there's something else we want to go do." And they prepare to leave the house.
I mean, unless the proprietor stops me, I'm going to go with them. Like, the whole point of Halloween is that I'm spending time with my friends from school and everything else. Like, it's something that both of my parents have encouraged me to do, is to be more social, considering I haven't always been the most sociable child growing up. So,
yep. You go to the old brickyard. Now, you've lived in Arkham your whole life. And so you know the Dunham Brickyard closed like 15 years ago. You also know that it is the site of occasional mixers that are hosted by some of this school's sort of more adventurous students. There's probably some reasonable rumor that there are some gang members in the area that really take care of the place on the normal day-to-day. But it's isolated and there's no real noisy neighbors. And so that means inside the old brickyard, music goes up, drinks come out, people dance and have a good time. And so you find your way there after a little bit of a walk. And you tuck yourself under the opening in the gate, and you're inside a place that doesn't really have a whole lot of tables. It's got room to dance, and there are some people dancing. There's music playing, and there's a whole lot of drinking going on.
oh, I definitely imbibe. I'm not shy about having a drink or two or 5, depending on the mood and, well, ease of alcohol.
You have a good time. I would like you to make a spot hidden roll.
Oh, okay. I have lots of that. 47 under 60.
So throughout the night, you see a couple of things. There are some fights, which is to be expected. There's also an interesting mix of people here, just different departments. You see a couple of, teachers' assistants that are here as well. It's not just everyday students. This is sort of like a badly kept secret that people know happens on Halloween. You see people dressed up, not in like traditional costumes you might buy from a store, but there's the occasional person that's dressed as a ghost, or there's someone dressed up like a big, huge bunny rabbit. There's a couple of what you would consider sort of risque costumes. Ladies who are showing off more than ankle, and they're having a good time. And there's a thing that catches your eye a little bit, and there's a guy in the corner who has been talking to this woman recently. You've seen a couple guys approach her, and she seemingly just shoos them off, not interested, etc. They ask her to dance, and she's not interested. Some of them make a big deal out of it, but throughout the night, over your 5 or so drinks at the old brickyard, you realize that she eventually clings on to this guy, and then they eventually leave. You're not certain, but you think you've seen him before. He's probably just another student, but you definitely know that yeah, you've seen him before. You just can't remember where.
Well, and I'm pretty sauced at this point, so I'm sure that my memory is also not super reliable right now either.
Absolutely. Roll con for me.
Oh, 52 under 75.
Yeah. So after 5 drinks, you realize that you're having a really, really good time. And your friends are dancing, and some people are singing with some of the tunes that come on. They're also playing games. So there are some Halloween games being played. Certainly, they're playing people are bobbing for apples here. They are also doing what's something called pumpkin ring toss. So there's a ring. It's usually, seemingly made of rope, and they're trying to throw it around a pumpkin. This is even funnier after drinking what you've been imbibing, because people just are going wild and throwing it all over the place. There are a couple of intricacies about the bobbing for apples that you find probably interesting. You see that some of the apples are marked, and there seems to be sort of a courtship game going on. Some of these women are marking the apples, and when a certain guy or girl gets the apple, they go off together afterwards and have a drink. But you have a great time. Halloween is a blast. We'll see how you feel the next morning, of course.
Yeah, it's usually pretty rough.
But you do get back to your dorm safe and sound, head pounding after all the music and drinks and cigarette smoke and everything else. So Beatrice.
Yes, sir.
Tonight's a busy night.
Always is.
Halloween night in Arkham, ever since really say 1924-25, has seen an uptick in what we would say mischief making. Your chief purpose tonight is to try to keep people's gates from being stolen. It is the new rage amongst the kids, which is to go around and take the gates off people's houses and accidentally let farm animals out or dogs out. And last year it got pretty bad. It got so bad that at one of the intersections in town, people piled 8 to 10 different gates, and people had to come and try to sort out which gate was theirs. It was a mess. And there's other mischief going on. Certainly eggs are being used to, decide which properties didn't give the right amount of treats when they came by. There's all sorts of people dressed up in costumes running around. And so the majority of your night, probably past, say, 7 p.m., is spent going from place to place, from part of town to part of town, to make sure that people are having fun, but not too much. But I wonder how long Detective Locke has been, a detective. How long have you been with the Arkham Police Department?
Oh, I followed in Dad's footsteps about 8 years ago now. I guess I've been a detective only for about 5 years. It's almost impressive what being a good cook and also knowing that my dad's a good detective that trained me well. It's almost impressive how quick the force will move you up.
Sure.
Even as a woman in that case. So.
Yeah, your dad being a part of the police department helps a ton. Now, just for clarity's sake, is he still there at the police department, or is he retired, or?
Dad disappeared a couple years back.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Are you still on the case then, looking for your father?
Yeah, it's interesting. The force has sort of dropped it, but I just can't. He wouldn't just disappear. He didn't even pack or anything. We never found a body. His house didn't look like he packed for a trip. He just was gone. So I live at his house and I mostly investigate Dad when I'm not on the case at work.
I'll keep that in mind. Most of your time tonight has been spent in and around French Hill. So French Hill on the south side of the Miskatonic River and essentially butts right up against the college campus. French Hill is a differing sort of place than a lot of what Arkham is about. There's all sorts of different churches here, but the big draw on Halloween night is Arkham Graveyard.
Yeah.
And so you have made a few passes around the graveyard because, of course, there have been attempts to try to get into the graveyard and do things that are not supposed to be done. You've shooed 2 different sets of college couples out of the graveyard who are simply looking for what they say are a quiet walk at night. You've assured them that the city streets are far safer and been probably pretty firm, I imagine, in telling them to not go back into the graveyard.
Yeah.
But it's during this time that you come upon a small, half your height. You come upon a child in the street in a ghost outfit, homemade sheet, and they turn towards you and put their arms up, and they do their level best to scare you. Boo.
Oh gosh. Little spirit, what a fright you've given me. How to appease the spirits. Oh gosh. And she'll reach into her bag and pull out a little chocolate. Does this buy me safety on this night, little spirit?
The little ghost child sort of moves around you in a circle and it dances and it sings this little merry tune about how, trick-or-treating is important to keep us at bay and salve the spirits once more. And it comes close, very close, and then plucks the chocolate and then sort of giggles and then runs down the street.
One of the best parts of Halloween. If all of it was just like this, it would be a better day.
This goes on, your night goes on for probably the next few hours, up until it's very late. You eventually head back to the station, which is good. It's on the other side of the river. You head north and you go probably, based on where you're at, up Peabody Avenue, and then eventually you find your way to the station. So the Arkham Police Station is just about smack dab in the middle of the city, on that other side of the river. You're about ready to turn in for the night. Normally you'd probably work up until about 10, but because it's Halloween, you're working a little later.
Of course.
And when you walk in, the desk sergeant that sort of sits and works the night shift for anybody who might coming in, you see a slew of college kids who are sitting on the bench, likely waiting to be processed, having been found in violation of the Volstead Act. You can smell the booze coming off of them. The desk sergeant looks at you and says, "Oh, Detective Locke, I was looking for you. Glad you're here."
Sorry, sir. Dealt with little spirits in the street that kept me waiting, kept me up. But I have appeased them and done my route, and all the gates are safe, sir. What do you need from me?
Well, we've got a report of somebody might be using the old brickyard as a club again.
Oh gosh.
I'd like you to go out there and take a look and rouse folks out. And just be mindful, because those Finns are out there and they play hardball.
Well, just because somebody feels like they're big enough cheese to use a brickyard how they please and, do whatever they want regardless of the rules of this town, doesn't mean I'm scared of them. I'll handle it. I'll be careful, but I'll handle it.
He gives you the lead, which is actually like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
He answers the phone again, and then you head back out.
Absolutely.
So the old brickyard is a place that's known to you. You know it's been closed. Everybody knows it's been closed for years. By the time you arrive, there is evidence that there was a party here, but there looks like an awful lot of footsteps that have left very, very recently. You can smell the alcohol in the air, and you can tell that inside the old brickyard, there's still probably a light or two on.
Okay. Well, just because some folk had the good sense to rush off doesn't mean that all of them have that good sense, so might as well see who's left. Check out that light.
You duck inside the old brickyard and take a look around. When you take a look around, you don't see anybody initially, like through your first few scans of the room. What you do see are clear evidence of bottles, glassware, and tons of different cigar and cigarette butts that have been stamped out. There's a basket or some sort of barrel over here that's got leftover apples in it. There was definitely a party here.
Sure. Interesting. Okay. Well, it is unfortunate that they trashed the place and left their apples about, but if there's anybody left here, I should probably find them first. I go deeper into the brickyard.
You delve deeper into the brickyard.
Mm-hmm.
You do find someone in the brickyard. He is trashed and sort of collapsed against one of the old brickyard walls. He has a Miskatonic campus jacket. And he's probably somebody that plays football. And he is passed out, like against the wall, snoring.
Oh, boy. Another spifficated youth. Time to take him in.
You get him on his feet. You're strong. You're big enough to pull him up for sure. And you march him all the way back to the police station. And that is a long walk. Very light traffic on the roads tonight. And by midnight or so, or worse, there's very few souls. But souls are something that we're going to get to as this story set in Arkham continues. So I will leave all of you right there. And so thank you for joining us on this inaugural episode of The Queen of the Night.